Now I hope you're getting it. So here I want when someone is adding a task, you should do what? You should be able to have maybe a task category somewhere. So sometimes, for example, I mean I don't want to have many to many. For example, I want just to have one task, one category. So sometimes you will realize that you need more columns in your tables. So here we use two ways. You can either run a command, okay, or you go straight to the table and add it there. So I'm going to show you how it can be done, the simpler way that is effective to me. So what I do, I'll just, for example, I want this task to belong to a category. So what I'll do, I'll just simply come and say localhost php-admin, and then come to tasks. Come to ICT of Amas, and then come to tasks. Okay, here, tasks. Okay, so I'm going to add one more column that is going to link the task to the category. Come to structure, and then come and add one more column and call it maybe task underscore category underscore ID. So everything that is having a relationship with the other, it is recommended. Write it like this: singular of the previous table and put underscore ID. By doing like that, it will help to do what? It will help Laravel. It will help Laravel to map your things without even manually doing it. Okay, so singular of a previous table of the table that you're referencing underscore ID. So I'll have there the task category. So I can make it an integer. I can make by default it should be 1, so that in case I have maybe in case there is a null that is submitted, it should be 1 by default. So you can make it nullable, but it's not good to make relationship nullable. So what I always do here, since this one is on localhost and I've realized that it is required, so what I always do, I always preview the SQL, I copy it, and then I go to cpanel, and I go to the database and I run this SQL. Okay, and then I run it also here, so that the same table, the tables should be on what? On the same level. I hope you've understood that. You just copy this SQL, go to the cpanel, go to database and run it. Okay, and then run it here too. And alternatively, you can do the migration and then you go ahead and copy again the migration and run it for the migration. Or that is very long process, but you better come here, add this column, and then go to the cpanel and add it. So right now I have now a column called task category. So I want here to have a list of task category when someone is adding the task. So I'll come to my simple task controller here, and then I'm going to come to the form and add the the category here. Okay, so I'll go ahead and create select form. Select for form. You can see it is there in the documentation. So let me just duplicate this guy, but for this one you just write select, and then I'll go ahead and copy the name, and then come here, put the name as task category. Okay, and now here you see it is selected. So selected, I'm expecting a what? A drop down. Okay, but I've not put the task categories. So I can do this way. I can either directly first, so I'm going to show you different techniques that you can use to do such a thing. So one way, you can first get the task category, look them, put them array, and then put them here. Another way, you can just get them here and plug them. So let me show you one way. So maybe I can come here and say my cats, but you can also become more creative and do even maybe better than me. And then I loop here for each, and then I come and say task category, and then I say all, and then here what you do, you put the ID of this category. You put the ID of the category as the what? As the position. So this is the loop. So I just simply come and say value, and then say ID. So that is going to be the ID, and then you point at the name, what the user should see. Okay, so I can put here value and say name like this. Okay, sorry, it's supposed to be cosigned. So it means that the ID will be mapped to the what? To the name of the category. So if this is ID 6, this will be 6, and then the name will be displaying to the user. So it means that you can as well do it as you want and modify it. So maybe you may want to display the ID to the user of a category, or you want to write something about the category. You can just simply say stroke that ID. So after getting these categories, you will come here in the for rules, and then you put what you call options parameter, and then you pass that array. So by doing like that, you can have this. So if I come and refresh, you'll see I'll be able to select the products and the category. I mean, sorry, the item in this category. So I can say maybe go copy notes, and then I come and select, maybe this is a school, and then maybe I say should be done at maybe today at maybe 6 p.m. I mean at 6, say 12 p.m. whatever. Okay, so maybe copy, I mean write biology notes. So the whole point is you can link things like that with simplicity. So that is how we do it. Now there we are. Another thing that I can tell you here, that is one way. Another way is I can as well use Ajax to do this. I think that will be the task, the homework. I'll give you the task to use Ajax instead. So instead of looping all through this, assume that there are 1000. Okay, so there's a possibility of using what? Ajax. Okay, so you come to form, come to input, and then you will find where there is basic fields. You'll find where there is Ajax. Okay, so that these things can, you see, this is how you use Ajax. So this will be your task to find out by yourself. So you can use Ajax, assume that there are 1000 categories, or there are 1000 things that you want to link. So it means that if you do like this, they will consume too much time. So what do? You better load them asynchronously using Ajax. So you'll have to write a very simple API, and then be able to do what? To be linking them here. So that will be the task that we'll try. That is one way. So the other way, last way, you can as well do like this. You can use the plug. So to use plug, you just simply get all these categories, and then just say plug. Plug means that you're collecting all the what you want. So I can say maybe I want to plug the name and the what and the ID. But the disadvantage of this one, you cannot modify what you want to display. So that's how we plug. So this one will give you the same one, the same result, you see. So it just pulled out the ID and the what and the name. So that is very important like that. So that is I hope you've understood that. So another way, or now another thing that I want to show you is now how can you display that category here. So be very careful and attentive, and note these things down, because it'll save your time not to search them again on Google. So I want to display here the category. So since I already have the task category, I'll just simply come here to my column, and then I'll go ahead. Maybe I want to display category in the same informal instead of description. Or let me display just category here. Okay, category. So I say category, and then come and say put here task category. Maybe I can say category. Okay, so remember this is a column that's already in a what? In a table. So by doing like that, automatically it will come as what? As an ID. So what if right now I want to do what? So let me enable actions so that I can be able to edit. I can just simply come and maybe change this one to be, instead of school, and make it business. Okay, so now what if I want to display the category name? So there you can modify the display by doing like this. So if you want to modify the display, you just simply put this function. You'll find it also in the documentation. Display, I'm just showing you the possibilities. It's not that I'm really teaching you. I'm just showing you what we can possibly do and how we do it. Okay, so you just simply say display, and then after, right here, function, and then you open it, and then you start it and end it like this. Okay, so here you can read, it will override the default displaying. Okay, so what if I want to display the category? I can just simply say maybe return cat name. Okay, so if I refresh, you see I'll have here cat name. It will be overridden. Now what if I want to do what, to display now the real category? So you want to display the real category, there are two ways. You can either go ahead and search the category from here. For example, I can just say my cat equals to category, and then say find. So this value will be passed to you here. Okay, so you can receive it here, like say baby cat ID. So whatever is stored in this array, I mean in this value, to be passed to you here. So I can just simply come and say I find it. Okay, so I'm getting it. Okay, so I'll assume that I'm not expecting null, so I can go ahead and just say return name. Okay, so to go ahead and get the category and return their names. Okay, that is one way, but this is not a very good practice of how to do this. So the better way is to put the category, the relationship here, so that you can be able to pull the category details from anywhere at any time. So to do that, I'll just simply come here to simple tasks. Okay, and then I'm putting a relationship. You know this, so I can just simply say public. I can call it category, public function, and say category. So since this one is task category ID, if you want it to be automatically linked, I just simply say task category. Okay, so this one will automatically be linked. That's the technique that I'm showing you. So I can just simply return this, and then say belongs to task category, and then say class. So now here, when I want to display it, instead of me finding this by myself, which can cause the system to be slow, I can just simply say this. So when you say this, it means that you're accessing the entire raw data using this. Okay, so I can say this, and then I say task category, and then if I'm not expecting null, I can just simply say name. Okay, so by doing like that, it will be able to give me the same results. Okay, so you see, I'm able to see everything. But sometimes assume that why did I say that you should maintain the naming clean and relational to the ID? Assume that I maybe call it maybe category. Okay, so if I call it category and then I come here and make it also category, it means that Laravel will not be able to automatically add the category ID. So it means that you'll have to manually do it by yourself. So if I manually do it by myself, here I can pass the column that is used to relate it, which is task category ID. So there Laravel can now know that this is the one that is used to be related, and then I'll be able to achieve the same thing. So that is how we can you can modify the display of a Laravel-admin table. So that is it. The rest you'll find by yourself, but that's a simple relationship. Now I wanted to introduce you to hooks. Okay, so hooks, as Hilary said, but let me have just 30 seconds response from each of you. Just comment on what I've just discussed. Priscilla, say something. Priscilla.
The discussion was good and educative.
Okay. So it helps you to get shortcuts.
Yeah.
How about Hillary? Are you following me?
Yes, please. I'm on track.
So are we okay?
Yeah.
Okay, hope
For
so.
now.
Okay, that's good. So I'm going to introduce you to hooks. As Hillary said, we use hooks to do what? To trigger events before they happen, or when they're happening, or after they have happened. So we have three main hooks on in what in in Laravel. For example, if you want to check in a single place where if someone or a certain username is already existing or not. If you want to prepare things and see if they are okay or not, so you can do that using hooks. Okay, so you will learn more about hooks. You can write it down, but for me I'm just going to give you a simple introduction. So to write hooks, you just simply come here to the model itself, and then do I know it even? I've never memorized it, but I can find it here where I've written it before. Let me come and see. Okay. So this is how we write hooks. Very important, eh? Very, very important. You see, this is the hook that had been done before. For example, when you're creating a product, we have to make for it a slug. If you know a slug, a relationship name, like where someone can look at the link of a name of a certain thing and he sees it making sense. So that's what we call a slug. So this one I was using it to create a slug when someone's creating a new product. So now assume that when someone is deleting a category, I want to manually delete them.
Recording in progress.
Hello, can you get me? Hello, can you get me?
Yeah, now we can.
Okay.
But then you lost us for a moment.
But I had talked about hooks, eh?
Yeah.
So this is how we write a hook. I may need you to implement it in your task because we use it a lot and it helps you a lot. For example, I don't want someone to be able to delete a category. Okay, if I don't want someone to be able to delete a category, so I can put that hook in tasks. So whether you're from API or from anywhere, this hook will be the best to stop anything that is happening that's not right, or to modify anything that is not right. So for example, I want when someone is trying to delete a category, I don't want them to delete to do so. So I can just simply put this hook. You can see it. You can search on the internet. These pieces of codes are there. It's just a static function boot, and then you put here parent, and then boot, and then they have different hooks. We have deleting. That means that when someone is about delete, when delete is happening. Then we have deleted when deleted is done. We have creating. Creating is means that when someone is creating an element before they have been created. Then created means that when the element has been created. Then you have updating. Updating means that when someone is updating an element. Then you have updated when an update is already done. So now I want here when someone is trying to delete, I want to throw an error and say you cannot delete this item. So I can just simply come and add this throw and then say, okay, let me just die and say, you cannot delete this item. So I want to stop someone from deleting this item. So I can do it like that. So it means that this hook will be triggered when someone is trying to delete this item. So if I come here and refresh and I come here to category, so if I try to delete this category, that hook will be triggered. So you want delete, submit. You see, oops, it has failed. So in background, it did not allow it. So you can creatively use these hooks in so many ways. in so many ways. Just go ahead and think and see how you can make use of these hooks. So you have creating, we have another one called created. Okay, so I want, for example, I want maybe when someone creates I want to see if okay, let me say I want to add a new name. I mean, I want to add a maybe the word Jumia, or maybe the name of my shop at the end of each product when someone creates it, maybe for SEO purposes. So I can just simply come here and create these hooks here. So I will simply come and maybe delete this on deleting, and you can have as many as you want. Now here on creating, I want when someone is creating, or let's say use on updating. On updating, I want when someone is updating, you should add on the name of the product, maybe the name of my shop. Okay, so I can just simply say, so this is where this you can use any name, the variable naming. So this is where you can modify an item, when an event is happening. So I can say on the name, it should be maybe the name of my shop, maybe let's say Jumia, and then first, and then the name of the product. Okay, then the name of the product. So it means that each time and then I return that new value. So everything will remain the same apart from what I've modified. So it means that this hook will be created and then modify this and then return. But this one will work only in updating and creating. That's when it will modify. But if you put in on created, on updated, means that the event has already been done, so it cannot change, but you can do other things. So if I come here and refresh, and then maybe come to this task, maybe let me say task, maybe I want to add the task on each naming. So I'll come here to task and then say I put here maybe a full stop, make some changes. If I refresh, and
Recording in progress.
guys, sorry about that, but we're about to finish, and the rest you'll have to figure yourself. So members, I'm saying that you can modify a thing. You see here I'm creating this hook to modify the name of a name. I mean, to modify my name, I mean the name of a task when it is being created. So this is how I'm doing it. So it is updating, and I put a hook of updating. So when I say when something is changed, the task name should be added, the word task in front of it, and then return it. So you return the whole model. So if I come here and refresh, and I come maybe to my tasks, you see, now I say that I want to change these copy notes. So I come here and edit and just simply maybe modify something. Okay, if I submit, now can you see this? The word task copy notes has been added, yet I did not add it myself. Here, what I want you to understand is you can use these hooks to trigger or to do things that you want to do in either to modify the item itself, or to do something else that when a certain event is happening. Did you understand this? The hooks? Remember, do you understand hooks? I don't know whether you've been seeing my screen.
Yes, but the updating happened on all models.
On what?
On all the models, even though you didn't update.
I know. When the screen went off, I had updated.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. That's a good observation. But when you are off, it's when I. So this is what is happening. So if I comment it, it will not modify. All what I want is for you to get the points. You see. Now if I submit, it is not changing until I put this. But you can creatively think of how you can use these hooks. And did you understand? Did you understand that?
Oh, it is.
Yes, one model is updated.
You've understood?
Yeah.
That's good. So I know it's been lengthy, So I'm finishing. The rest you're going to do them as tasks. So today I'm going to task you, challenge you to modify the dashboard. Okay, I want you to be able to modify the dashboard. See this Laravel admin, but I'm able to see different things. I'm going to challenge you to modify the login page. You see this is the login page, but it is looking different. That's Laravel admin. You're not going to make it look like this, but you're going to prove to me that you can modify the login page. I will task you also to modify the landing of Laravel admin, so that if a customer comes, can see different things. And I'll go ahead and task you to work with the user roles. For example, if I'm logged in as a customer, I should not be able to see maybe products. I should be only be able to see my order, my orders, and what, and my profile. Okay. You have not finished the task of adding adding the order, a supplier being, I mean a customer, I mean sorry, a shop owner being adding orders. So that is what I wanted to do today. So it seems challenging and time wasting, but it is very important. When we get you to the projects that you already do, you'll find you have a lot of ideas other than going start messing with the project that are already running and being used. So let us use this dummy, let us use this time to do what? To make sure that you understand all the procedures. So the next thing is going to be working with what? With user roles. It's very important for you to be able to identify who is a customer, who is a shop owner. What should the customer see? What should the customer should not see? So that is a tricky part that I'm going to take you. Laravel admin has already implemented that. I thought that time will be enough and I demonstrated for you, but it is not enough. But if you get stuck, I'll be available. So you have that section. Let me just okay, let me use just 5 minutes to show you, because it can waste much of your time when you're searching. Just 5 minutes. So I want to save your time. So you see, I'm able to see some things. So in Laravel admin, you have things called users. So you go and learn about it. I mean user roles. So these user roles, you can create different user roles and give them what? Different permissions. Okay, so you go and learn about them. Okay, so user role will have what you call a slug and a name. So when you create a slug and a user role here, give it a slug and what as a name and a name. So these permissions we have all, and then you can create even much more permissions. Now, for example, if I come to users, when you're editing a user, you'll have a section where you can assign multiple roles to what? To this user. You see? So these things are very, very important. Isaac is telling you to just go ahead and jump into projects. Yet you have not really understood how Laravel admin. You find that you're trying to create your own way of handling the user roles while it's already implemented. So later I said, no, let us do it this way. So you find that you waste a lot of time. So it's very important, and I want you to give you your best. You guys, your developers. So know what you really want and what you really deserve. So you see, these user roles are already implemented in Laravel admin. So instead of you going hustle with yourself with user roles, you don't need to. So you're going to learn about user roles. As you can see, I can assign multiple roles to the user. Now assume that I don't want maybe a user to see this. I don't want an admin to see the details of or the description of a certain task. How can I do that? Those are very, 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 very important things. Very important things, and that's where we are going. So make sure you understand. Bagenda bavuga speed, just watch out. So make sure you understand these things and they'll save your time, please. So now I don't want this thing to the admin to see it, the description. Now I know if I come to my roles, this is admin user. If I come here to users, if I come to users, this admin users, I come to edit. You see, so he has these roles. He has a basic user role and user role. Okay, so this is super admin. He has a role called super admin. So if I come here to my roles, I already have a role called what? Super admin. You can as well add more. So I don't want a super admin to see this details column of what? Of description. So how can I do that? I will just simply come to my table. Okay, my controller of tasks. I don't want the admin, a super admin, to be able to see this. Okay, so first of all, how do you get a logged in person? So a logged in person, you get them like this. There are two ways. You can either use auth and then say user. Okay, so there you'll be able to get the all details about a logged in person. Okay, so if I come and refresh, you'll see I'm able to see every information about the login of someone who is already logged in. So instead of you going and search out, figure that you've already got it. So if I want his name, I can just simply put here name. So you can see this is the name. So you've known that. So you can access anything about the login person. So if I come and say, I think roles, I can be able to get his roles. Is super admin, at the same time is at the same time is he has three roles. He has two roles. He's a super admin, at the same time is a basic user. So that's how you can get roles. Okay, that's how you can get roles. Now the other thing is, now how can you check if this user has a certain role or not? So there I will use those things called slugs, if you still remember them, where I showed you. Okay, so you'll use the slug. Remember we had a slug called administrator. Let me show you. Let me go back, refresh, and then come here. When you're creating a role, we had something called slug. So it's a unique way of identifying a role. So that slug is the one that we use to check if a user is a certain role or not. So I can just simply say if a user, so we do like this to check if it has a role. We just say is role, and then you pass here the slug. Okay, so now I can die here and say yes is admin. Okay, and then you can put here else and say no is not admin. You get it, eh? So if I come and refresh here, I'll be able to determine whether the guy is admin or not. Let us see the role that this guy doesn't have, agent. Okay, so this slug of agent. So if I come here and say is agent, okay, is role agent. So if I come and refresh, you see is not agent. Can you see? So that is very, very important for you to figure that by yourself, or creating that logic by yourself. It can take you 2 weeks. 2 weeks, but I'm trying to deliver these things in less than 1 week, so you can have them on your fingertips. So you're developers, and you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so now you've understood now that. Now let us say that I don't want an administrator to see the what? This column. Those are the rules that are going to give you. Isaac, the quality assurance manager, is going to give you these rules. No, I don't want this one to see this. So how will you do it? So I can just simply say, if is admin, show. So what does it mean? So I can as well do like this. You can as well use this auth and put it here. You can as well get a user by using admin. Admin, just put here admin. You can as well achieve the same thing. So I want, if it has a role of admin, you should see this column. So it means that everything will be okay. he will be able to see in the description column. But I don't want admin to see maybe the description column, so I'll have to put the note. So if he's not an admin, I mean, if if he's not admin, he'll be able to see the column, this one. So if he's admin, he will not be able to see the column. So I don't want to maybe people who administrators, they should not see the action. So the action button. So I can just simply say if is not administrator, I want to disable the actions. So I can say grid and put disable actions. So it means that if you are not administrator, if you're an administrator, sorry, can just okay, let me say if you're an administrator, you should not see an actions. So those are the rules. Okay, you see, an administrator will not see the actions. So very, very important things. Go and play with them. I'm going to give you rules. I don't want the customer to see this, I don't want this one, and that's how things are in the real world. I don't want an admin to see the export button. I don't want the admin maybe so and so to filter. So all those rules, I have to implement them. Now I don't want a customer, I mean an admin, to see these task categories. What do I do? So if I don't want administrators to see the task category, but why it is there, so I'll come to menu, and then come to task categories, and then I limit it to some specific. If you leave it here to roles, it will show it to every user, but I can limit it to only maybe agent and basic. This is just for demonstration. So it means that only those two people are the one who will be able to see the task categories. Now if I'm an administrator and I come and refresh, can you see it? Let me see. Task categories, maybe it should be C. Okay, I put basic user, and this guy is a basic user already. So if I come and refresh, can you see? It's supposed to go. Task categories, I want it to be seen by maybe by workers. Let me see how that one goes. So if I come and refresh, how is it not going? Hey, he's administrator. Administrator will see everything. Sorry. Administrator will see everything. But otherwise, if you limit someone who has the super admin roles, that one, the role number 1 that comes with Laravel admin, you will see everything. But for other, for example, let's say a customer is not supposed to see these categories. So this is the place where we'll see. Maybe only super admin will see. So it means that the customer will not be able to do what? To see that specific section. So it will be also implemented in what? In the menu. So with that much said, I'm going to upload this video just for the future purposes. In case you're stuck, you can skip to a specific space and be able to do what? To remind yourself. Okay, and I'm going to give you more challenging things so that as you're fixing them, you're learning, so that when you start collaborating on same projects, we are all speaking the same language. That's the whole idea. When I say user, you know what's a user. When I say role, you know what's a role. When I say hide this, you know what's it. When you say you did this, I know what you did. That's the whole point. Right now, you might be good, for example, at Python. Maybe at M10 they're using Python, or at Jumia they're using Python. But when you're getting on board on Jumia or at M10, they will first take you through how they write their Python, and that's what I'm doing. That's what I am doing. So that's it for today. Let me get your final feedback, and then we'll proceed to the day's business.
Yes, please, if you could kindly request the tasks, or you are going to send a document.
I beg your pardon?
I was inquiring about the tasks.
The what? I beg your pardon, please.
He was inquiring if you're going to send the document to today's tasks, or if you could repeat them.
I will share the document, the tasks to try.
Cool.
You'll send a document.
I've not. I'm not. I'm going to send it after.
Okay, and the recording too, if you don't mind.
Yeah, I was recording, but it's like it was not recording.